Hey, good morning. It is November 23rd, 2020. This is Getting Blown Up in Space in EVE Online. I am Planet Head. I think I have come across one of the better things I want to go over today, um, but just some updates real quick. I am still flying my Cormorant here. Been able to do a little bit of ratting recently and been able to upgrade the DPS pretty well and add on a few little pieces here for defense. Still just a basic fit, um, but with my ratting, I was able to upgrade my magnetic field stabilizers to detect the meta levels, so I'm getting a little bit more DPS there. I was able to build both a shield hardener, kinetic shield hardener, and a shield amplifier, so my simulated kinetic defense is up to 74. This is just basic stuff that you can make yourself as a level 1 player. Also, um, able to fill out all of my neutron blasters here. So they're all one big fire at once, an alpha target, and then able to build a couple of rigs here to increase my rate of fire and my damage done. So the damage rate now for it is up to 257.3. I'm able to take out battleships and level 3 um, clone soldiers. I haven't run into a level 2 yet. Want to be careful around those because they can warp scramble me. So, but I haven't run into one yet, so I haven't been able to test it out there. Um, Other news, it's been a little bit annoying. I am based out of Slays right now, and there's been another Sancha incursion. They just ended one. I really wanted to do some ratting over the weekend here to boost myself up. Um, but Sancha incursions can be a little bit of a pain. I haven't done a whole lot of them, and I don't have the ship capacity, like the number of ships, to experiment with them yet. I want to experiment in the future, but right now I just really can't mess around too much in this area. So I'm having to find some other areas in Placid to mess around in. If you're ever wanting to fly around in Placid, this area here actually it's right here, if you can see my cursor, is all NPC space that is not faction warfare. Everything else here that is low sec is faction warfare. Um, so you'll have a lot from Corvin all the way around. You'll have a lot of through traffic for people looking for fights. Over here, you may get a lot of through traffic going for people heading to Syndicate. And literally, I just had a guy trying to scan me down to kill me in Cormorant as I was flying through. So you want to be a little bit careful out here. One thing I like about down here is it's a little bit quieter down there. You don't get as good of fights with NPCs, but when you're trying to start off from scratch, it's a good spot to go with. Unfortunately, I can't use it that much right now. I may mess around with it a little bit because I haven't done a whole lot of incursions. Um, Now that I think about it, probably the last time I messed around, I wasn't even messing around, was when I rage quit a couple years ago. I was just trying to travel. I had two accounts and I was trying to travel. I think I had an EOS and a Dominic's, and I got caught on a gate out in Nullsec and totally messed it up and lost both ships. And I was already annoyed with the game at that time, and I lost both ships. And I think I was just like, I'm done. I'm done. So maybe that's why I've stayed away from incursions. I do want to try them out. I know a lot of people make a lot of good ISK and have a lot of fun with them, but I just don't have the ship capacity right now. That being said, I'm starting to be able to build a few. My next video um, after this one, I think I want to do one later on tonight comparing destroyers, the Cormorant and the Catalyst. And so that should be pretty cool. I want to do a deep dive, kind of a basic level deep dive on them because I'm really liking the Cormorant. There's some differences that cause both to be a little. They look very similar until you actually start digging a little bit deeper into them. Um, so I want to do that. But what I really wanted to go through today, I haven't looked at the news yet, so but I saw this last night, and it's something that I've really held off on for the first couple of months. Um, but I think this is really, really important and helpful to people. It's kind of hard to find this online, um, and it can be really helpful to you if you do it at the right time. I've waited a couple months because once you do this, uh, you it's kind of set in stone for a while, or you lose the options for doing it. And what I want to talk about is skill management, and when you want to do we'll show you here, a remap of your skills. I'm not going to get into that just yet. What I want to talk about first is your skills and your attributes that Eve comes along with. Anybody who's played any type of role-playing game, you usually come with some sort of attributes. Obviously, you don't need strength in Eve, but it's got perception, memory, willpower, intelligence, charisma, and you start off with this base amount, 20, 20, 20, 20, and 19. How do these affect you? They don't affect how you fly the ships, how you do anything real time. All this affects is how quickly your skills are trained. So you start off with this base amount. Obviously, if you put in implants, I don't have any implants, augmentations, or implants in my character right now. But these will go up if you put in a level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. Your points here will go up, which will cause the amount of time for you to do your skills to go down. If you die and you get potted, you lose those implants. And depending on how expensive they are, they can be hurt you quite a bit. I haven't put any implants into my ship because I've been really experimenting, trying out all sorts of stuff, and I didn't want to take. I could have put in level 1s and level 2s. It's not a big deal to me right now. I really haven't been worrying too much about skills, but I'm starting to get to that level where my skills are taking more than a day or two to grow. I've got a nice base. I've got a nice setup of skills. So what I want to talk about today is neural remapping. And to do this, what you want to do is, let's just go to skills. And if you look here, what I have done is set up my skill queue. Took some time. Now that I've got that nice base of generic things that I'm not going to run into anything, I then put in what I'm looking forward to doing next. So the first one is I want to get my Galente Cruiser up to level 4. I've only got another day left of that. But if you look at the next groupings that I have here, they all revolve around flying destroyers and using their guns. Catalysts and Cormorants both are gunships. They basically fire small guns, and they do a lot of damage with those. They're not drone ships, they're not anything like that. So I've got in here trajectory analysis level 4. That takes 4 days. And then the 2 destroyers that I want to fly next coming up. And then after that, every type of gun skill that might take a little while. Rapid firing, sharpshooter, motion projection, prediction, and surgical strike, all to level 5s. Each one of these is going to take quite some time. Including all these 9 days and then 19 days for surgical strike. The big thing here is, while these are just destroyers, they could be the big bonuses for flying destroyers, and that's what I want to do. All of these down here are really great for any type of ship that fires any type of gun. You're not pigeonholing yourself into flying a cruiser with a medium gun or a large ship with a large gun. You're focused on these will affect every type of gun that you have. Obviously, rapid firing gives you a higher rate of speed. Sharpshooter increases your optimal range. Motion prediction is your tracking speeds, and your surgical strike just gives you a little bit more damage. This is my goal right now. How does that go along with remapping? Well, if you look at each one of these, I'm not going to go through each one, but I'll show you here. They have a primary attribute and a secondary attribute. And when as an example, the Galente Cruiser is a primary attribute of perception and willpower. Now I'll show you here trajectory analysis is also perception and willpower. Now I'm not going to go through them all. All of these are perception and willpower. Now, how do I know this? Because if I go up here and I hover over each one of the skill groupings, you'll see, and I can't point at it here because I'm hovering over it, but you see in that listing it has the 2 skills that go along with every skill under that grouping, and a lot of them are perception and willpower, especially if you're doing dogfighting. You want to get better at PvP. If you just hover, so as you can see, any spaceship command skill that you want to go, your main goals are perception and willpower, navigation, intelligence and perception, engineering, intelligence and memory, armor, intelligence and memory, shields, intelligence and memory. So that's another one. So you got perception and willpower or intelligence and memory. I'm happy right now with my shields and armor because I'm going to be flying destroyers. So I'm not worried too much about my intelligence and memory. I'm looking at my perception and willpower. Gunnery, perception and willpower. Now there are other things. If you're a miner, you can do your memory and intelligence there for resource processing. If you're into structure management, memory and willpower, trade, charisma and memory. So that's one of the few ones that you do charisma, but somebody who's trying to do a lot of market trading, they would want to focus on their charisma and memory. So how the last part here is, now that I'm sorry if I'm running through this real quick, but I don't want to spend 1,000 hours on this. Although, I did just notice something. Sorry, I did not realize. So we've got small energy turret. It's here, control, reduction, capacity, need for weapon turrets. Yeah. Yep, we're going to throw that one in. Sorry. Like that one. And that one there. I'm just boosting these up. Okay, so I've got all these skills, and all of them revolve around perception and willpower. Let's just double check. Perception and willpower. All of these are perception and willpower skills. And right now, if I were to train all of these skills, it would take me 78 days and 10 hours. Okay? And 10 minutes. Not a big deal. If I go over to my character remapping and I press remap now, and number one, most importantly, bonus remaps available too. Every character starts off with 2 bonus remaps. You get 1 more bonus remap if I remember correctly. You want to do a little bit of searching on this, but if I remember correctly, it's once every year you're given the option to remap your character. And once you use your first 2, you only get that bonus once a year. So that's why it's so important. You can make one mistake, flip over another, or you can flip it every 6 months, but you don't want to be trying to do this every other day. This is kind of the role-playing aspect of where do you want to go. I will show you the one way to get around this briefly, if you make a mistake, not to have to remap again, but we'll get to that at the very end. It's really helpful to remember this part of it. But, so, okay, I know I want to do perception and willpower, and you know what? I'm going to make sure here, because remember, you want it. This is one of the few things you want to make sure you do it right the first time. So perception and willpower are for my gunnery and spaceship command. And spaceship command, good. I'm going to go back over. I'm going to hit remap. And I'm going to remove out, since I'm not using any of these skills for the next 78 days, I'm going to remove out all of the ones that aren't perception and willpower. See how I'm gaining these here? So now I've got 8 more points to throw in. I'm currently at 20 and 20. I'm going to raise these up to 24. 24. Oops, one more. There we go. Very important. Once I hit save changes, it's been a long time since I've done this, But once you save these changes, they're set in stone until you do another remap. Once I do this, I'll go down to one bonus remap that I can use until my anniversary date comes up. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And remember, I had 78 days and 10 hours left on that skill training. Yes. Good. Okay. And now we're going to go back over to skills. This is very important. I'm now at 65 days and 8 hours. By doing this, I just lowered the number of days to train up all of these skills by 9 days. So if I'm just running through some numbers, and it's about a 15% increase, which is a huge amount of time when you're trying to train up your other skills. Now, what I might also want to do is go out and find a perception and a willpower implant and put those in. Maybe a level 2, maybe a level 3. Level 3s cost about 10 million ISK. Level 2s cost level 2 million ISK. That would bump me up even farther. I don't have to put in 5 implants. I only have to put in 2 on your basic settings. Because I am only training perception and willpower right now. So if I do get potted, I don't have to worry about it as much. I'm not losing as much out of my pocket. This is really important, and I know it says still 2 bonus remaps left. I think when I reboot, it will probably say 1. Maybe it gives me an extra 1. I don't know. Maybe I get 2 after that first one, but I know you want to be very, very careful with doing this. Last but not least, okay, let's say if tomorrow I realize, oh no, I forgot. I didn't have my drone skills in there, and it does memory and perception. And now that's going to take longer because I because I remapped myself. This is why I save up the bonus skill points at the very bottom here, because I can throw those in to catch up on something that I don't have remapped. I like to save at least about 200,000 to 500,000 just for that quick boop. Yeah, it does slow me down a little bit overall, but in general, I like to have those just in case, just to be safe. But I hope this really helps. Maybe if it helps you get your skills a little bit faster, it shows you that you don't have to have 5 implants. I would never suggest doing this at the beginning of playing Eve. I would really suggest it probably after about a month or 2, maybe 3, like I've done. Once you get your base stuff down, using the Magic 14, and filling up those holes that you forget about while you're learning to play the game and wanting to figure out how you want to play the game. But once you figure out what you want to do for the next couple of months, which is I want to focus on destroyers and frigates and PvP and maybe a little bit of cruiser action with guns, I'm going this way. If you start the game and you want to go market trading, you want to maybe change your skills over to the charisma and memory. Once you start getting into level 4 and level 5 of skills, this is maybe something you really want to look at. But until you get to that point, I really would not suggest it, because it's something you can throw in later on that's incredibly helpful. Okay, that's what I got here. I hope that was helpful. I'm going to start messing around some more with my Cormorant. I want to get the catalyst and start messing around with both and building both, and also start building some frigates to do some damage out there fighting around. If you guys have any questions or any suggestions, please feel free to message me again in the comment section or in the game. I am Planet Head, all one word. And I hope this helps you a lot. You guys fly safe, fly dangerously, or fly out however the heck you want to. And I'll talk to you later on today. Have a good one.